It is in the stillness of silence that the greatest plans are drawn, the strongest wills are formed, and the most powerful men are born. My friend, the world today is loud. Deafening noise surrounds us, from the endless chatter of the crowd, the ceaseless scrolling of devices, to the opinions of those who have never built, never struggled, never risen from the ashes. And yet the men and women who shape destiny do not waste their breath in fruitless noise. They retreat into silence. Why? Because silence builds power. Let me tell you something eternal. The man who learns to guard his tongue, to withhold his plan, to speak less and listen more, he becomes unstoppable. The greatest minds, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, were not men of idle talk. No, they were silent thinkers, patient planners, and fearless executors. Their power did not come from loud declarations, but from the quiet discipline of the mind. When you speak less, you hear more. When you listen deeply, you learn endlessly, and when you learn, you grow. Growth is silent. Roots dig deep in stillness before the tree can rise. Your mind, your purpose, your success at all requires the discipline of silence. Yes, there will be moments when the world will provoke you. It will demand your reaction, but the wise man does not react. He responds, and only after he has thought. And thought, my friend, is born in silence. Today, I challenge you to harness the hidden force that so few understand. Start observing instead of announcing. Start planning instead of boasting. Let your results make the noise. Let your silence become your sword. Because the day you master the art of quiet, you will begin to master yourself. And once you master yourself, the world bends to your will. So sit back, listen with intent, and walk with me through the powerful path of silence. What I'm about to share will change the way you think, speak, and lead forever. My friend, we live in an age where noise is mistaken for confidence, where shouting is mistaken for strength. But I tell you this, true strength does not shout. True power walks silently. It listens, watches, plans, and then strikes with precision. History has proven it over and over again. The strongest men and women did not rise to greatness by making noise. They rose by thinking deeper than others dared to think. They rose by retreating into themselves, into their minds, into the sacred halls of silence where real power is forged. You see, silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is the quiet before the storm. A wise man understands that silence is not weakness. It is restraint, and restraint is power in its highest form. Look around you, the world rushes. People talk endlessly. Opinions flood every corner of your screen, but very few are building, very few are creating, and even fewer are mastering the power of silence. Why? Because silence is uncomfortable. It forces you to face yourself, your doubts, your fears. But in that confrontation, you discover who you really are. When you embrace silence, you begin to hear the most important voice in the world. Your own, not the voice of fear, not the noise of society, but the voice of vision, purpose, and clarity. And when you hear that voice, you begin to act from power, not pressure. The great builders of history, whether they were leaders, inventors, or thinkers, knew this secret. They did not waste time proving themselves to the world. They proved themselves in private through discipline, thought, and quiet intention. Their strength was not measured by how loud they were, but by how calm they remained under pressure. In silence, you train your mind. You sharpen your intuition. You build unshakable confidence, not by shouting, but by knowing. Knowing what you stand for, knowing what you're capable of, and most importantly, knowing when to act. Silence is the birthplace of clarity. It gives you the power to see through the fog of confusion, to hear the whispers of opportunity that others miss, to remain grounded when the world loses control. So if you truly seek power, not the illusion of it, but the real thing, then practice silence, not just in speech, but in your spirit. Hold back your need to explain. Resist the urge to announce. Let your actions be your voice. Let your results echo louder than any words ever could. Because power built in silence is unshakable. It's patient. It's timeless. And when the moment comes, it moves like thunder. not because it needs attention, but because it's unstoppable. So remember this: silence isn't the absence of sound, it is the presence of strength. In the journey of success, one truth remains eternal: those who think deeply, speak carefully, and win greatly. Look through the pages of history and you will find a common thread among every extraordinary mind. They did not waste words. They spoke with intention, with clarity, and only when necessary. Their conversations were not filled with noise, but with value. Think of Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon who built an empire from nothing. He was not known for loud speeches or constant talk. He was known for sitting in deep thought hours at a time, contemplating every decision, every move, every partnership. When he finally spoke, his words carried the weight of his wisdom. He understood something most people never learn: real thinking happens in silence. Real power is born before the first word is spoken. The mind is the greatest tool you have, and yet most people are so eager to speak, to impress, to prove, that they leave no room to think. They talk about plans they haven't acted on. They share ideas they haven't refined. They chase applause before they've earned achievement, but the great minds, they are different. They delay speech until thought is complete. They do not speak to impress. They speak to direct. They do not chase validation. They chase vision. When you speak less, your mind becomes sharper. You begin to notice more, observe more, learn more. You stop reacting and start analyzing. You see patterns others miss. You begin to anticipate outcomes. And that, my friend, is the beginning of wisdom. Talking too much leaks energy, but silence stores energy. It channels your thoughts inward, helping you discover original ideas, solve complex problems, and think strategically. It turns your mind into a weapon, and your voice into a laser. You must understand this. Every word you speak should carry purpose. Every sentence should have direction. When you speak too freely, you expose your intentions, your weaknesses, your plan. But when you speak with precision, you confuse your enemies and inspire your allies. The men and women who move nations, lead industries, and change the world do not walk around telling everyone their next step. No, they move in silence and let their success speak for them. Today, I invite you to make a shift. Speak less, think more, hold your ideas close until they are strong enough to stand on their own. Do not throw your thoughts into the crowd hoping for approval. Craft them in the furnace of silence until they are undeniable, because the world listens to those who have something real to say. And the only way to have something real to say is to think deeper than everyone else. So remember, great minds are not loud minds. They are disciplined, thoughtful, and powerful because they choose thinking over talking. If you desire to grow, truly grow, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, influence, and power, then you must learn one forgotten art, the art of listening. In today's world, everyone wants to be heard, everyone wants to speak. They rush to give opinions, to offer advice, to interrupt before the other person finishes a sentence. But very few take the time to listen. And even fewer listen to understand. But listen closely, my friend. Growth doesn't come from speaking. Growth begins the moment you start to listen. There's a reason we were given 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Nature itself whispers the principle: listen more than you speak. Because in listening you gain something priceless, perspective, and with perspective you gain understanding, and with understanding you gain the power to adapt, to improve, to win. The person who talks constantly learns nothing new. They live only within the boundaries of their current knowledge. But the person who listens expands those boundaries. They absorb insights from others, they learn from mistakes they didn't make, and they tap into wisdom they didn't earn, but were humble enough to receive. Consider the most successful individuals in any field: business, science, leadership. They are not just great speakers, they are exceptional listeners. They listen to their mentors, they listen to their team, they listen to their critics, not to agree, not to argue, but to understand, because in every voice, even in disagreement, there is something to be learned. Let me be clear, listening is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is a weapon in the hands of the wise. It shows patience, emotional intelligence, and maturity, and these traits open doors that talent and noise never could. You grow when you listen to those ahead of you. They show you the path. You grow when you listen to those beside you. They help you stay grounded. You even grow when you listen to those behind you, because their questions remind you of how far you've come and how far you can still go. In silence, you hear the truth. You begin to hear not just what is said, but what is meant. You begin to read people. You begin to feel the energy of a room. You become a student of human nature. And that, my friend, makes you powerful. So train yourself daily. Pause before responding. Ask questions before offering answers. Be more curious than clever, because every great leader was once a great listener. Every master was once a humble student. Let the world speak. Let others shout for attention. You listen, listen with purpose, listen with focus, and in that silence you will grow faster, rise higher, and lead better than you ever thought possible. Remember this, listening is not just hearing. It's receiving power, it's unlocking wisdom, and it's the beginning of true, unstoppable growth. There are two types of people in this world, those who react and those who respond. The difference, my friend, is the difference between weakness and power, between living life by default or living life by design. A reaction is automatic. It is emotional. It is the first, untrained impulse of a mind not yet in control. When someone insults you, you react with anger. When life surprises you, you react with fear. When things don't go your way, you react with panic, and each time you do, you give your power away. But a response is thoughtful. It is measured. It is a choice made by someone who has mastered the one thing that matters most, himself. Reaction belongs to the undisciplined. Response belongs to the wise. Think of a boxer in the ring. The amateur swings wildly, reacting to every movement. The professional studies, waits, and only moves with purpose. The reaction wastes energy. The response lands impact. One is noise, the other is power. In every moment of pressure, in every moment of conflict, you are given a choice. Do I react emotionally, or do I respond intelligently? And the man who chooses the latter consistently becomes unstoppable. Why? Because the world cannot control a man who controls himself. When you respond, you remain calm while others lose their heads. You remain clear when others are clouded by emotion. And most importantly, you remain in control of your direction, not pulled by chaos, not pushed by noise. A reactive man is a puppet, pulled by circumstances. A responsive man is a leader, guided by principles. You see, life will test you, people will provoke you, circumstances will pressure you, but these are not enemies. They are mirrors revealing who you are. And every time you pause before reacting, every time you breathe before speaking, every time you think before acting, you grow stronger. Reaction is weakness because it is unconscious. Response is power because it is deliberate. And power always belongs to those who act with intention. When someone offends you, pause. When plans fall apart, pause. When the unexpected happens, pause. In that pause, you separate yourself from the world of noise and enter the world of wisdom. That pause is where great decisions are born. That pause is where empires are built. So I urge you to date. Train your mind to pause, train your heart to wait, train your spirit to remain unmoved until clarity arrives. Because the man who can pause in chaos is the man who will lead through it. Remember this law of life. Reaction is easy, but it is the easy road to failure. Response is difficult, but it is the narrow road to greatness. Choose wisely, because in the pause lies your power. In a world addicted to attention, many waste their energy on appearance, not achievement. They shout their dreams before they've built them. They post their plans before they've prepared them. They chase applause before they've earned results. But I tell you, true power needs no announcement. The strongest men and women let their work speak for them. They let results make the noise. There is no power in empty words. You can talk about your goals every day, you can tell the world what you will do, but until it is done, your words are just air, they fade, they vanish, they are forgotten. Results, however, results echo. Results are undeniable, they demand attention, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. Think of the great builders of history, the innovators, the leaders, the trailblazers. They were not busy explaining their every move to the crowd. They were building in silence, working while the world watched other distractions, and then, when their work was done, the world turned its head and listened, because you cannot argue with results. You see, a lion does not need to announce it's a lion. It moves with quiet strength. It hunts with focused silence, and when it roars, the jungle listens, not because it begged to be heard, but because its power is real. Likewise, you must train yourself to move in silence. Let others talk, let them doubt, let them laugh you. You build, you work, you improve, and when the time is right, you show. A man who talks too much about what he's going to do rarely does it, but a man who builds without distraction, he becomes a force. His results shut mouths, his achievements speak volumes. Let your success speak so loudly that no one even remembers your silence. Let your performance make the announcements. Let your impact write the headlines. Because when your work is great, it becomes your voice, and that voice will be louder, more powerful, and more respected than anything you could have said along the way. The loudest room is rarely the most successful one. The quiet worker in the corner, the one with discipline, focus, and purpose. He's the one building an empire, so hold your goals close. Let your dreams burn quietly inside you. Let them be your fire, not your display. Because what you do in silence will one day shine in the spotlight, and when that day comes, you won't need to speak. Your results will say it all. If there is one conquest greater than ruling nations, it is the conquest of oneself, and make no mistakes, self. Mastery is the root of all greatness. No man has ever led others before first learning to lead himself. No empire was ever built without first mastering the inner empire. The mind, the emotions, the discipline, the will. But where does this journey begin? It begins in silence, not in noise, not in chaos, not in applause, but in that sacred, uncomfortable, powerful space where the world quiets down and you are left alone with your thoughts. You see, most people are afraid of silence. They run from it, fill it with distractions, endless scrolling, meaningless talk. Why? Because silence exposes them to themselves, and that can be terrifying. But the few, the powerful few, welcome silence, because they know this truth. In silence, the real battle is fought, and in silence, it is won. You cannot master your emotions if you never sit with them. You cannot control your mind if you're always drowning it in noise. You cannot discipline your behavior if your days are led by impulse, reaction, and rush. Silence forces you to slow down, and when you slow down, you begin to see clearly. You begin to observe your habits, your patterns, your thoughts. You begin to ask questions that noise would never let you ask. Why do I act the way I do? What am I really afraid of? What is driving me? Purpose or ego? And slowly in that space you begin to make changes, not public changes, private ones, the kind that no one sees, but everyone will feel later. Self-mastery is not about shouting, "I am in control." It is about showing control when the world is trying to shake you. It is about choosing discipline when comfort calls, choosing patience when anger rises, choosing your path when everyone else follows the crowd. That kind of power cannot be faked. It must be built, and it is built one silent decision at a time. The strongest minds are not loud, they are composed. The most successful people are not the ones who boast. They are the ones who remain calm in storms, who move with purpose, not pressure. So I say to you today, make silence your sanctuary. Make time to reflect, to listen to your inner voice, to sit with your goals, to confront your fears, to master your emotions, because only when you rule yourself can you rule your life. And remember this always. You do not need to conquer the world to be powerful. You only need to conquer yourself, and that journey, my friend, starts in silence. In a world that rewards noise, Those who master silence will always rise above, because silence is not the absence of power, it is the foundation of it. It is the training ground of warriors, the workshop of thinkers, the refuge of leaders, and the birthplace of transformation. Silence is where you meet the real you, not the version others see, but the one who holds your dreams, your fears, your purpose. It is in that sacred stillness where clarity is born, direction is revealed, and strength is forged. The world may tempt you to shout your success before you've earned it, to share your plan before you've walked it, to prove your worth through words instead of work. But the wise, the truly powerful, do not chase attention, they attract it, because they know power that is spoken too soon is power that leaks, but power developed in silence becomes unstoppable when released. Let others speak, let others show off, let others rush. You, my friend, stay silent, stay grounded, work in the dark, think in the quiet, move in discipline, and when the moment is right, the world won't need your explanation. They will see your elevation. Remember, your silence today is not weakness, it is preparation, it is focus, it is a declaration to the universe that you are not here to play small. You are here to build something lasting, something real, something powerful, because he who has mastered silence has already mastered himself, and he who has mastered himself can master anything. So choose silence, embrace the stillness, and build your power not for noise, but for impact. Let your success be your voice. Let your results be your roar. Let your silence shape your strength.